Hi, Lee Phillips here. Yeah, I'm a lawyer, and I run into people who have their businesses fail quite often. In fact, if you're taking statistics, by far the majority of businesses created fail within 5 years. But nobody ever thinks they're going to plan for failure of a business. Well, when you create your business, you need to write the articles of incorporation or the bylaws. Not the articles of incorporation, you write the bylaws, that's what we put it in. The bylaws or the operating agreement for the LLC, you write those for failure. But wait, my business isn't going to fail. Well, on average, yes, it is going to fail. So let's plan for it a little bit up front. What can you do? Well, if I contribute all of my money to form the business and the business goes belly up, I'm the last guy on the totem pole when I get paid back. So let's create the business, put a little bit of money into it, and then let's give the business a loan. If I get the note back and all of that stuff, then I am a legitimate debt holder of this company. They get paid way before the shareholders do. So if I've got a bunch of guys and I'm putting up the most money, I don't want to do that. I want my money to be in the form of a loan to this company, not in the form of a stock purchase. That's one thing you can do. To some degree, you can set the order of people who get paid back in your operating agreement or your bylaws. That's another thing that you can do. One of the big problems that I see are people who set up a company and they have it be taxed, either a corporation or an LLC, they have it be taxed as a C corporation under Chapter C of the IRS code. The problem is, if the business fails and it's a C structure, C corporation structure, then that loss is trapped within the company. The only way I can ever get that loss back, as far as the IRS is concerned, is to make money in the company. Well, the company failed because it wasn't making money. So I would think very, very, very carefully before I set up a little company under Chapter C of the IRS code. If it's not under Chapter C, that is, it's under Chapter S, or it's a sole proprietorship taxation structure, or a partnership taxation structure. Now, I would have an LLC taxed as if it were a partnership, or as if it were a sole proprietorship. You don't run your operation as a true partnership. You just have it taxed like a partnership. But then, if there's a loss, that loss can be distributed to the individual owners, and then it can be spread out indefinitely to offset their taxes. So that's a pretty good thought that I might have. Don't have it be a C company. What other thoughts are there for business failure? Well, how many mortgages? What have you guaranteed? Now, as a small business guy, they're going to make you guarantee everything. It is possible that you can get an account at Home Depot or at Office Max or wherever and not have to actually sign personally. But 99.9% of the time, you're going to be on it personally. I know a guy who was running a big operation, $150 million a year operation. The owner had signed personally on the credit cards. Every employee had a company card. They would go out, they would give seminars, and they would put the hotels, they would put everything else on these credit cards. Well, it was going really well, and he turned the business over to a couple of yahoo young guys, and within a year, they'd run it into the ground. Guess who was personally liable on all the credit cards? And they hadn't paid the credit cards for months. You guessed it. A very wealthy man took him down. So what have you signed personally on? Think about that. Keep your spouse's name off of everything if you can. If you live in a community property state, this doesn't work as well. But if the spouse is not an officer or director or involved in the company, and you move your house and your other private assets into the spouse's name or into their trust, then when you get in trouble, they're not in trouble and their assets aren't in trouble. That's a big deal. Now, in a community property state, husband and wife are considered one legal unit, so this doesn't work very well in the community property states, but the common law states have the spouse be set up to hold the secure assets, as I'm going to call them, and then the other spouse, they're in business and they're taking the risks. And if we draw a line down the middle, you don't go over into his or her area, he or she doesn't come over into your area, then their assets are protected from your business failure. That's a big deal. So how you plan your little business should include failure of the little business, because unfortunately it happens altogether too often. Lee Phillips, just a couple of thoughts on planning a new business.